Well, hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Ames's Corner. I got this big old F-350 in here. Now, these trucks are pretty big. These trucks are pretty tall, but sometimes they're just not tall enough. So this thing's in my corner today because I'm putting all of these lift parts in. We got a 4-inch lift going in this thing. We got a quad shock set up in the front. We got a dual, come on, focus. We got a dual steering stabilizer set up going on it. Yeah, I think it's safe to say this thing's gonna be pretty damn big when we're done. I've actually got it up on the lift, but it's probably gonna be about where it is now at rest. So, yeah, got the instructions and all that here. So, I'm going to get this checked out. I'm going to make sure all the parts are in the boxes and undamaged. I'm going to make sure that the truck's in good shape underneath. So I'm going to put this up, take a look at it, and get into this. So we'll see where the next jump cut goes. Guys, tackling in on the back of this. I got a couple of the shocks unbolted. Working on getting them off up there. Those are a little frozen on. This is a rusty old girl. So it's going to be fighting me a little. I know I'm going to be using the torches in a little bit, so just want to show you what's going on here. I'll keep working on getting these shocks out. That should only take a minute, and I'll probably start tackling these spring mounts, way up in there. Not real easy to get to, but whatever. So I'm hoping that those bolts are going to pull right out of the springs there. Sometimes the bolts will seize into the collar inside the little eyelet there, and it can be a real pain to get out. So let me dig a little more into this. We'll get this pulled apart a little bit. Another question I have, I'm not exactly sure. The kit supplied to me has Riage springs, and it uses these factory blocks already. They're also the bump stop. See the bump stop right there. We'll hit that little anvil part on that block. My experience is with using blocks on lifts with Riage springs is it'll S the springs. The torque of the drive in it will twist the springs up real bad. So I'm not sure if what they want you to do with that. Also, pinion angle is rectified with shims between the spring pad on the axle and the spring itself, because you need this you need the angle of the pinion to match with the drive shaft to the output shaft there on the transfer case. So I'm going to tear into this a little more. We'll see what kind of fight it has, and I'll get this all broken down. We got all these old rusty springs out. I decided to, let me grab my flashlight. Decided to leave the shackles in place and just swing them back. That other bolt right there that holds the shackle in, those are seized into those bushings. So without torching and getting into a lot more, I opted just to leave those. They're still in good shape. Relatively speaking, we are in probably the worst part of the rust belt, and this truck isn't as bad as I've seen. The fact that this all came apart, all these bolts came out of the eyelets. Everything came out of the eyelets nice and easy. Didn't fight me too bad. Just if you're gonna do this, just be careful. There's a lot of potential energy stored in these. When you do loosen that last thing, they do kick. So we got these bigger shocks in. I had to modify the little bracket up there for the brake hose. There it is. I had to just bend that a different way. Normally you would do longer brake hoses, but this kit didn't come with them, unfortunately. So little thinking has to be done. These hoses up the front, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the same thing with. These hoses in the front really should be replaced anyways. These are all rusted out. You can see it on this side, all just flaking apart. Such as New England. So let me get a little bit of this together. This is probably going to take 3 people to wrestle these springs in. These springs are not very light, so Let me get a little more done, and we'll see where we go through this thing. Yeah, just going right together easy. Put all those in. Usually lift kits on these trucks are a little more of a fight. I got that block in, no fighting, no yelling or cursing or nothing. I still got to get this side slapped together. That brake hose, you know, that's about max hang right there. That's pretty tight. That's going to have to get replaced before this truck can be driven. Or it's that first time you hit a bump that's going to snap. So let me get some of this all in. Get that rear suspension went in real easy. Everything came right apart like I needed it to. Everything went right together easy. After I got those shocks in, looks like that brake hose, that's acceptable for now. So yeah, U-bolts are all in and tight. I like the angle of the shackles, look good, everything's good. And so you know what they say, when one thing goes real easy, the next thing's not going to be so easy. So you know, this took maybe an hour and 45 minutes to get this rear in. So I don't think I'm going to be breaking that time on the front. The front, we got a little more to deal with. We got stuff like these sway bars here. The rear didn't have sway bars, the front does. That means that means this bracket needs to be put underneath the frame. This kit has a relocator and a brace to do that. Same with this side. And then another thing, the front has, because it has the all the steering attached to it, this bracket here needs to be replaced so we keep the geometry of this anode rod right. So I get that to deal with, and then I've also got to install a dual steering stabilizer shock setup. So let me start pounding some hardware out of here, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if this is going to fight me and make up for all the trouble the back didn't give me. So, see you in a minute. Well, here I am. I'm at the front, and see if this translates. Oh, if you see, with the light shining, there's a bolt. You can barely see it. Those are the bolts that hold the front of the springs on. So I got to come in here and pull this mount for the AC condenser here. That's this part here is the AC condenser. That bracket's in the way. And let's see if I can stick this in here and we can see what we got going on. And just see how rusty that all is. Look over here, I've already got this one out. It looks like I can get that bolt out with just that. Pretty tight. For such a big truck, it's pretty tight in here. So this is definitely a little tougher than the other side. So why they put these bolts in this way, I don't know. If these were just put in the other way, this wouldn't be an issue. We come over here and there's where that bolt is. I've already got that nut off and it hammered out. But you see how much room there is? If they just, Ford could have just put those in the other way, you know. Sometimes there are things that you see the engineers or whoever builds, you know, vehicles will do that just drive you nuts. And this is one of my little pet peeves is this. Another thing is if anyone's ever done sway bar links with the ball end and how those never come apart. You always got to replace those if you want to take them off. But let me beat my hands against this thing a little longer. Let's get this thing ripped apart a little more. So we'll see you in a minute. Just motored right through it. I'm back from lunch. It's a little after 2, and here it is. All slammed back together. Yeah, I just got a few more things to do. I got to get these. I got 2 of these brackets. These hold the that AC condenser up there in. I got to get that reattached, so I had to get those bolts in. Yeah, it's all tight, all in. I got these shocks in. This kit didn't come with boots for the shocks. That's kind of a bummer. You would think, you know, like Rancho, usually that sort of stuff comes with that stuff, but I guess that's something to think about when you're going to get a rough country lift. Make sure you get boots. I ended up just rebending the straight portion of these brake hoses, and they didn't leak. They're not leaking now, but it looks like there's enough slack. This won't drop anymore. I'm not sure about swinging the wheel. I'll see that when I get it down. If I have to put other brake hoses on, it's something that can be done. Now, he also had the mounts for the dual front shock setup. However, the customer only provided one shock per side. So if you don't have both shocks down here at the lower mount, you can't just put one shock on one side. It's going to tweak the mount. Plus the hardware doesn't really facilitate not having the other shock on the other side. So I left that like that for now. We'll either have to change these upper brackets in the future, or the customer can do that. Maybe that could be a weekend project for the owner of this truck. So I got a few more minutes, probably another half hour, 40 minutes to do some buttoning up on this thing. By the way, this is an 02. This isn't an 02 front end. I guess he had hit a tree and instead of fixing it with the original parts, he figured he'd upgrade it. So let me throw the rest of this together, get this thing outside, and let's see how it sits. Well, here it is all done. It's about 3 o'clock, 3:30-ish. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I was expecting this to be, like I said, a fuck show with getting all that hardware out. But all in all, it went pretty good. You know, I think a lot of that is just the amount of experience I have with rusty hardware. Without even, just by looking at something, that you need to heat it up with the torches first. So there it is, 4-inch lift. Now, oh yeah, that turbo. That's one of those rare turbo Trans Ams with the. Are you? Not a turbo one though, right? Awesome, you got to come in and do a couple donuts. Well, like I was saying, I saved all of his springs for him. A lot of people don't save this stuff. They say, "Oh, my truck's lifted, and I'll never sell it. I'll just beat it till it dies." But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the laws change, and you can't have a lifted truck. It would suck to have to buy these brand new again just to bring this back down. Plus, if you wanted to sell a truck that's lifted, some people want these trucks because of their hauling and towing capacity. And when you lift a truck, I know I've said it on some of my other videos, when you lift a truck, you kind of weaken its ability to haul. I mean, they'll still pull a respectable amount of weight. You know, it'll still take a lot, but not what it was from the factory, not what it was stock. So, I mean, definitely a neat thing to do to a truck. Actually, you used to be able to buy these from Ford if you were a big company or a foreign government. They had a truck called a Ford, and they would do a SORP, Special Off-Road Package, which is like a upgraded engine, a little more horsepower and torque, and a 4-inch lift. And I think you could have gotten it with like lockers and whatever. But not too bad for half, 3/4 of a day's work. Not too bad. So I gotta go take this around the block, hit some bumps, take some corners. I gotta rattle it loose. One thing when you do a lift like this is things like the U-bolts like to loosen up. They'll settle, the springs will settle, and you gotta retighten those. So that's about the end of this one for me. So I'm gonna go finish this thing up, do the paperwork, and just do another check and a road test. So yeah, until next time, guys, keep it out of the cabbage.